It is the 1st of November. You know what that means on this channel. On the 1st, it means the monthly candle for October has just closed. So we can look at the monthly chart and try and predict what that shows us for the month ahead and potentially for the next few months ahead. We're going to recap last month's prediction that I made on the 1st of October, see how close or how far away that was, and then I'm going to share with you my thoughts and insights for what I think lies ahead for November and potentially for December for the rest of 2021. Guys, if you are new to this channel, hit the subscribe button down below, click the notification bell so you do get future updates. If you want me to send you an email every time I upload a video, first link in the description down below, you get on my email list. I can notify you that way too. And of course, since I'm doing all of this for free, I would really appreciate if you smash the like button, get it out to as many people, share it with as many friends and family as possible. It helps get the content out to more people. It helps the channel get more views. So I'd really appreciate it if you do smash that like button. All right, so Bitcoin closed with the highest monthly candle close ever. Okay, so October 2021 was the highest monthly close ever in the history of Bitcoin. It was also the highest monthly close in the history of Ethereum and of the entire crypto market cap. So we have got some historic things that have just happened, and we are literally witnessing history in the making. So it is a very special time. Those of you who have been in crypto since 2017 already, who witnessed the boom and the bust in the last few years of the growth of the crypto space, I think you will really appreciate where we are at this moment in time and how exciting it is starting to look for a potential repeat of the previous bull run cycle, that we could be looking at a massive blow off top in the next few weeks, in the next 2 to 3 months. We're going to look at that in today's video. So as per usual, let's start out by looking at the Bitcoin monthly returns. And as you can see, October closed with 39.93% positive gain, which is very much on track with the history of Bitcoin since 2013. The same thing happened in September. It was very much on track, on par. You can see here in October, very similar. In 2013, 60%, 33%, 14%, 47%, 10%, 27%, 39%. And with this, always the important thing is to look specifically at the years of 2013 and 2017. Reason being, there's a 4-year Bitcoin halving, a 4-year Bitcoin cycle. So those years are most relevant because we are 4 years later once again. So if you compare that with 2013 plus 60%, 2017 plus 47%, and now in 2021 plus 39%. So there's a little bit diminishing returns on that, but still it is very much on par what has happened in the previous 2 cycles. Now, obviously, if you're looking at November, November is pretty much the most bullish month that there is. You can see here, 2013, 449%. Keep in mind, in 2013, that was the peak of the Bitcoin bull run. Peaked before the end of November in 2013. So this was the absolute top in the month of November. Then in 2017, we had a nice 53% gain. This was not the peak. The peak in 2017 was in December, in the middle of December. So just keep that in mind. So just looking at the other months, so it's also pretty green. Obviously 2018 and 2019 were in the bear market, so it makes complete sense that they were red. 2020 was last year, of course, the year after the halving, leading up to what is now the last year of the 4-year cycle potentially. So based on this, November should be a big green month. Just switching this over to quarterly real quick, you can see we are still on track to have a big green Q4, which is the norm. You can see in 2013, 479%, 2017, 215%, and so far, we're only 1 month in, still have 2 months to go, we are at a positive 36%. So even if this is halving every single 4 years, you can see 479, 215, even if this hits only 100% gain, we are still looking at a big move up in the next 2 months before Q4 closes. So heading over to the chart, Bitcoin is now trading at $60,264. You can see the month actually closed at $61,366. So this was the highest monthly close here. You can see we had this wick up here, but we actually did not have a close as high as what we just did. So, historic record monthly close. And let's go and look at what I said on the 1st of October in that prediction, and then I will share with you my thoughts for what I think could happen in the month of November. So based on the quarterly, based on October also being historically a bullish month, based on potentially a big injection of $3.5 trillion as a new stimulus that might get passed, based on potentially ETF approval for Bitcoin ETF, I think that there's potential this continues to the upside. So on the upside, I'm still looking for 55,000 this month, maybe potentially 60,000 to the upside. If we get a really big green candle, if we get that announcement, I think that is a possibility. So as you can see, I said $55,000 to $60,000 on the possibility of October being a bullish month, the possibility of an ETF approval, and that is exactly what happens. In fact, we actually went quite a bit higher on a spike. We actually had a high of $67,000 on Bitcoin. So that perfectly came true. We had a huge green candle. We had an ETF approval for Bitcoin. So all of that was pretty accurate and even exceeded my targets. So that is absolutely great to see. Now, what lies ahead? Now, once again, November, as I've just shown you, is traditionally a bullish month. We're closing in on the last potentially 2 to 3 months of a 4-year cycle. So if the 2017 cycle repeats and that 4-year cycle is still in play, the next 2 to 3 months could be huge parabolic moves to the upside and a massive blow off top. So we have to keep that in mind. And if that is going to happen, when things start to go parabolic, it is actually much harder to make these predictions and to make these anticipations because the price action tends to be a lot more volatile and it tends to move a lot more than can be expected. Usually a lot of the time when things go parabolic, the price goes a lot higher than you'd actually expect, but the downside volatility can also be there. So purely based on this month candle, this is a massively bullish candle. We closed above the high. We had the highest monthly close ever. So I think November is going to be a continuation. I think we're going to get another big green candle to the upside in the month of November. Now, just if I have to make some guesses and some levels, of course, these are always guesses, guys. My predictions sometimes are pretty accurate, but it does always remain a guess. Nothing is certain or guaranteed. So, of course, always this is not financial advice. You have to make your own decisions. But looking at this, I would say that if we get a big green monthly candle, and there is a possibility for a blow off top, so I'm going to give 2 levels. If this is just a stepping stone month and the real blow off top comes in December, I think we might see somewhere between $72,000 and $75,000 for Bitcoin in November. But if things go really crazy, maybe we get more news, maybe institutions jump on board, maybe the rocket ship completely takes off and we get an enormous candle, even bigger than October, then I do think there's a possibility for somewhere between $85,000 and $87,000. Huge green candle to the upside that would pretty much take everyone by surprise that doesn't think it's going to happen. I do think that could be a potential. So target number 1 is, I'd say, somewhere between 72 and 75,000. Target number 2 between 85 and 87,000 for the month of November. On the downside, I would say yes, there is a possibility for a little bit of a pullback. Potentially we might retest this monthly candle open once again. So we might go as low as $57,000 if there is downside, but that is not necessarily guaranteed. It could also just go straight up from around this level, from around 60,000. So that is my thoughts on Bitcoin. Now, before we go and look at Ethereum, I want to share with you Plan B's prediction that has been scarily accurate over the past 3 months too. And this was a tweet. He made this prediction back in June of 2021. So right in the middle when Bitcoin was crashing, when it went from 65K to just under 30K, he made this prediction in June saying August was going to be $47,000 for a close. That is exactly what happened. September, $43,000. Exactly what happened. And for this month, he predicted $63,000. The CME chart actually closed at $63,000. On Friday, the spot price closed at around $61,000. So very accurate from his stock to flow projection model for Bitcoin that he made back in June. So his targets for November and December are $98,000 for Bitcoin in November and $135,000 in December. Is he going to be right? we will see at the end of this month if this 98K is going to be accurate. I would love it to be. I think it's a little bit high, but it is not impossible. If we do get a parabolic blow off top, it could happen. So I just want to make you aware of that. If you're not yet following him on Twitter, it's at 100 trillion US dollars. I will add the link in the description too if you want to check that out. But just something else to keep in mind. So moving over to Ethereum. Ethereum also had the highest monthly close ever in the history of Ethereum. You can see we closed the month at $4,288. So huge monthly close by quite some margin, because you can see the last highest monthly close was actually only at $3,400. So almost $1,000 higher for the monthly close. And you can see here, if you zoom out on the bigger trend, you can always do this so you can see what is still the direction. This is very much clearly still in an uptrend, and we have not yet had a parabolic blow-off move to the upside, in my opinion, in Ethereum. So I do think, just like with Bitcoin, obviously, because they are connected, if Bitcoin's going to go higher, the whole market is likely going to go higher. But also just purely based off this chart, I think Ethereum still has more upside to go. Before I share with you some levels, let's go and look at last month's October 1st prediction that I made for Ethereum. I do think it might be possible that we also retest the lows of September once again in a quick dip down again, which means that we could potentially see 2,700 or 2,600 in Ethereum on the downside. I think if it would happen pretty quickly. Then we reverse back up, and then hopefully we're looking for again these highs of 4,000 to 4,400 potentially this month. That is a possibility. So again, I'm going to stick with those similar targets that I had last month, 4,000 to 4,400 on the upside. So there you have it. I said Ethereum was going to continue higher. My upside targets were $4,000 to $4,400 when Ethereum on the 1st of October was trading just over $3,000. So that was a call, and that ended up being pretty spot on, because the high that we hit in October was $4,460, and we didn't even get as much downside as I thought might be possible on a sell-off. So again, very accurate, spot on call. So you can see with Ethereum, and adding the Fibonacci extension on over here, you can see we are in a very strong bullish uptrend that has not been broken. Yes, there have been some wicks here, and I said back here, you can go and look back in my previous videos on this channel, I said these wicks on the monthly looked like basically there were no more sellers. It was these wicks, usually an indication that there is no more selling pressure, there's more buyers than sellers, and we get a continuation, and that is exactly what happened. You can see over here the bodies of these candles are in a very nice uptrend. You can see a strong support over here, and now we are basically at the final boss, but there is basically no more resistance left, and we are at the doorstep of price discovery for Ethereum. So once we break up to the upside, there's basically no price resistance levels left, and I think it's going to go a lot higher. So with this Fibonacci extension basically that you put on here, you can see a lot of the levels are very accurate over here. So that makes me think the target for Ethereum could very well be the 1.618 in the next maybe 1 to 2 months that we could hit, and that is about the $7,000 level. Now we're at $4,230. We hit $4,400 already, so that isn't too crazy. It's less than 100% gain. And we are talking about a potential parabolic blow-off top movement that went absolutely crazy back in the last cycle. So if that happens again, and we are closing in on the end of the bull run, then in the last few weeks, when things go absolutely parabolic, obviously the gains are huge in the shortest period of time. So I am not too sure if we are going to hit that in this month. That would be a very big month, and given the history that in the last cycle Bitcoin peaked first and only Ethereum peaked after that, a few weeks after that, along with the altcoins, I'm not too sure that we would hit $7,000 this month. It is not impossible, but I would say by the end of December, or maybe potentially by January only, would we hit the $7,000 target. So I would guess, if I have to choose levels for this specific month for November, I would say somewhere between 5,000 and 5,500, as a potential target. It could go higher than that too if things go crazy, but I think by December or by January, $7,000 would be my target. I know there's people talking about $10,000, $15,000, maybe even $20,000 for Ethereum before this cycle is over. Again, nothing is impossible. To me, it seems a little bit high, so I want to be a little bit more conservative. I think $7,000 would be a more realistic target, $7,000 to $8,000 for potentially the end of this bull run. But obviously, if it goes to $15,000 or $20,000, I would love to see that happen. And again, we will only always know in hindsight. But for this month, that is my number that I'm just going to guess. Again, no certainties of any sort, but 5,000 to 5,500 for the upside. On the downside, I would like to see it stay above $4,000. I don't think there's too much downside. If this is a blow off top and we are heading into those last 2 to 3 months, I don't think there's too much time left to be able to have big downside moves. So it's more likely that it goes up first and then has a correction rather than going a lot lower before going higher, if that makes sense. And finally, we have here the total market cap that I want to include in this video. Again, the monthly candle close on the total market cap of cryptocurrencies has had the highest monthly close, again by quite a margin, because it used to be around here, the $2.2 trillion level. We closed on this chart at 2.6 trillion. So that is quite a bit higher than the previous monthly closes. And right now we are basically in price discovery in the total market cap. So I think there is a lot of upside left. And you can see with this trend line, you can see we're starting to break out to the upside instead of it just sticking at the same kind of angle with the rising trend over here. We're starting to move to the upside, which is a sign, I think, that we could be seeing here a parabolic blow off top move, which would make sense once again. And my idea is still that this could happen within the next 2 to 3 months, which would be in line with the 4-year cycle and not so much an extended cycle. Now, obviously, if things continue beyond, say, January, and we haven't really seen a blow off top, or kind of go sideways for 2 or 3 months, then the idea of an extended cycle becomes much more likely. But at this point in time, I think things are looking up for more bullish continuation in November, December, and potentially just go absolutely crazy, have a blow off top in December or January. So that brings me to a point that I want to share here, which is be prepared for when things start going crazy, that you have your exit strategy ready, that you do remove your initial capital, and that you lock in profits if that is part of your strategy. Obviously, if you're just planning on holding Bitcoin forever, well, you probably don't even need to watch these videos if that is you. So most people are in this to be able to make profits from shorter term movements, which means the market moves in cycles. So if things go absolutely nuts and you are in massive profits and you have life-changing gains, which is very possible. Some people make 6 figures, 7 figures, even more than that in paper profits when things go parabolic, because we can see altcoins go 20x, 30x, 50x, 100x, right, in a short period of time. But if this cycle peaks and then it crashes back down, all those gains that you have on paper near the peak will completely evaporate, or mostly evaporate. We saw this in the previous cycle at the end of 2017, early 2018. Again, I'm going to warn you, I personally knew people who had multi-million-dollar portfolios. They did not sell. They rode it all the way down. They kept holding, altcoins included. And those multi-million dollars became worth less than $100,000 in the bear market. I think that story will happen again. So as we start to see more FOMO, right, the fear of missing out, and retail investors and your friends and your family asking you for advice, or even worse, they just got in 2 weeks ago and they're starting to tell you about which coins you should be buying and how you should be trading. That is when we are probably pretty close to the top and everything is about to reverse down. You also start to see a lot more like gurus and people in other niches, maybe people who are in the marketing niche or in the business niche or maybe in the general stock market niche. All of them start to talk about crypto, and maybe they start to offer crypto courses and crypto memberships, and everyone tries to jump in on the hype, and they start launching new business ideas right near the very peak of the hype, of the thrill, of the euphoria. I'm starting to see signs of that starting to happen again. I think we still have a few weeks left, hopefully another 2 to 3 months, but just telling you, be prepared for the situation. If things go parabolic within the next 2 or 3 months, you have to strongly consider you know, what are you going to do with your exit strategy, with your profit taking strategy? It's not financial advice. I can't tell you what to do with your own money. Make your own decisions. But I have been here for a few years. I was here in the 2017 boom, the peak, the mania, the euphoria, and I witnessed the entire ride down with drawdowns of more than 90%, some cases even 99% on altcoins from their peak in the boom. And I think something similar will happen again. So just be prepared for that mentally. I can tell you it's very hard to do when there's euphoria, when everything's going nuts. It is difficult to take profit. It is difficult to sell because you think it's going to keep going higher. You think you can quit your job. You think you never have to work again. You start looking at Ferraris and Lamborghinis. You start looking at yachts and mansions and what you can do if this just continues for another 2 weeks or another month or another 2 months. How your portfolio is going to go up and up and up. It can be very difficult to take profits. That is why you need to be prepared for it. Have a plan so that when it happens, you can just execute the plan and not rely on your emotions to be able to trick you into being too greedy or staying in or just waiting for another double or another triple, and then it all disappears. So guys, be very, very careful with what's about to happen. I think we're going to see a lot of upside. We will know very shortly. There's 2 months left of the year. So I will do another video update on the 1st of every month. I will just keep that going, and I will see, you know, if I have more time to be able to make more videos on the channel throughout the month too, because I do enjoy making them, and hopefully you get value out of it too. If you do, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed yet. Leave a comment with your thoughts. What do you think is going to happen in November and December? Are we going to go higher, sideways? Is there a 4-year cycle? We will get an extended cycle. Leave your comments down below, smash the like button, and I will see you in the next video.